In your psyche, in your body, there is this part of you as a woman that wants to unleash, that wants to break free from the mental prisons and the societal standards and all of the rules of what it means to be a woman. There's a part of you inside that wants to feel absolutely untamed. However, this part in our society has not been seen as safe for many centuries now. Women have been absolutely domesticated and told who they need to be and how they need to act in order to fit in to these boxes. And we're going to talk about this today. We're going to break free from some of those boxes, even just in this conversation. This part of you that wants to unleash, once you start to really feel her in your body and in your being, I want you to know that this is your wild woman archetype rising within you. And if you are feeling this desire to unleash, that means that you are ready to embody her and to let her be free. Some women have suppressed this part of themselves so much that it's become absolutely dormant. And what has happened is there's been wounded sides of her that come online and she judges that part of herself. And typically this happens when she sees another woman being fully wild in her raw expression and she judges her. The reason why she's judging her is because she deep down inside craves to be that too, but it's so unconscious that she's not even aware of it. And so she projects through judgment. The reason why I am speaking on this is because as I've gone through my embodiment journey and as I've, sorry about that, and as I've, oh my gosh, I literally told my boyfriend to stop texting me because I'm recording right now and he's just texting me and I have my computer on Do Not Disturb and it is not working for whatever reason. It's really weird. Anyways, we're going to keep it going because F it. What I have noticed through my embodiment journey, my own personal journey, and being surrounded by many women who are absolutely devoted to their journey of truth, their journey of reclamation, their journey of expression, as well as coaching many women in honoring who the heck they are. We're not going to edit any of this because I'm a fucking human and whatever. That part of me sometimes comes on and is like, should I edit? Should I like, it needs to be perfect because this is the same thing. It's perfect that this is happening because this is so in alignment with what I'm talking about right now. That part of the mind that comes in and is like, this needs to be perfect and I need it to look a certain way in order for it to look professional and beautiful and for people to listen to me. And my wild woman is like, fuck that. I'm a freaking human. And I'm going to be making mistakes. And this is me and you having a conversation like if we were in person. And that gets to be okay. And you're going to see all sides of it. So anyways, back to my point. I've seen it so much in women where as they start to deepen their work, where they start going deeper into parts of themselves and they start to reclaim the lost parts of their voice, their expression, their embodiment, their confidence, their trust, as they start to just reclaim more of who they are, this part of them starts to come online where it's like, I just want to rebel against everyone and everything in this patriarchal system that has just bounded me to all of this shit that is not true and it's not real. And I want to take a stand for this. And this is something that has risen within me. And I believe that it's important for this wild woman to come out and to unleash. And she might be a little intense and ferocious at first because she's been so suppressed for so long. And not even just in your psyche and your being, but in the collective psyche and the collective unconscious. If you know anything about Carl Jung's work, he talks about the collective unconscious, and this is where he came out with the study around archetypes, archetypal energies. And so the feminine has many different archetypal energies. We have the maiden, the mother, the crone, the wild woman, the warrioress, the queen, the huntress. There's so many different archetypes that live in the collective unconscious. Men have their archetypes too, the king, the warrior, the magician, so many, the hunter, like they just have so many archetypes. There's so many different energies that exist in the collective unconscious. And for the wild woman, this is more existing in the feminine collective unconscious. And it is something that connects us all together in the collective, is these archetypes. And this is why it's so cool to witness women reclaiming more of their power, and then starting to all, no matter what they've gone through, no matter what experiences they had in their childhood, no matter how they grew up, no matter how different they are, there's something that's very similar. And it is this desire to fucking unleash and just be set free. And so in the beginning stages of that, like I said, it could be this rebellious energy that just wants to come out and wants to be seen and wants to roar and wants to just rah, because it finally feels safe to express in that way. Some women experience that intensity. Other women, it's a slower process of reclaiming this wild woman or allowing this wild woman to come online. But it's a really beautiful journey to witness. And so when we talk about the collective unconscious, I also want to bring some awareness around the conscious mind and then the unconscious mind, which you've probably heard about that. But the conscious mind is more of like your decisions, your thoughts, your identity, your daily functioning, your intentions, your rational mind, right? But that's only 5% of your total psyche, right? Then the other part of your psyche is your personal unconscious, right? But these are the parts that probably got forgotten, suppressed, that were rejected. So these are your childhood memories, your trauma, your repressed emotion, limiting beliefs, the parts of you that you hide away from being seen. So like your shadows, your automatic behaviors, things like that. So this is what shows up when you are triggered. This is what shows up when you shut down or freeze. This is what shows up when your inner child gets activated. This is like what shows up when you're noticing that you're in a shadow aspect of yourself, right? And then the collective unconscious is like the deepest layer. It is like what holds your human instincts, what's been imprinted in the collective for generations and centuries, ancient memories, cultural narratives, like inherited survival patterns that we've had from like our ancestors, ancestral trauma, inherited fears and desired conditioning that exists collectively, right? And so it's beautiful when we do the work. And this is why I love embodiment so much, because when we tap into the body, we're shifting from the subconscious or the unconscious mind. And sometimes we tap into the collective unconscious and we reclaim some parts there. Other times we're reclaiming the personal unconscious and bringing truth back into the conscious mind so then that can be embodied. And it is such a powerful experience and a powerful journey, especially when you're bringing the somatic aspect of it, when you're bringing your body into it to touch the deepest parts of your psyche. It is so freaking beautiful and so cool. So there's all these different layers that exist inside of you. And that's where this exploration of inner work gets to be something so exciting and almost like a journey. It's like you're on this hero's journey, on this heroine's journey to reclaim all parts of you that have been lost in your personal story and then also in the collective story. And so when we talk about the collective unconscious, it's really cool because what I've noticed, especially in like retreats and group experiences, is that when women tap into their wombs, there's this rage that exists inside of the womb. Almost like this rage that doesn't make any logical sense, but it's living there, right? The reason being is because the womb is connective to the collective womb, which is another word for the collective unconscious, right? Especially for women. So when a woman taps into her womb and she's experiencing this rage, this feminine rage, this is why rage is so powerful to tap into in a sacred way. Because when you tap into that rage, you're tapping into the rage in the collective that hasn't been able to be expressed, that has never felt safe to be expressed by other women in your lineage, by other women in the collective. So it's really cool because when you're tapping into this rage that just exists inside of you, it exists in all of us, honey. Okay. So when you notice yourself projecting anger or feeling angry at somebody because they, quote, did something to you, are these subtle little ways that you notice anger show up in your life? When you go deeper into that, there's a lot of feminine rage in there for all the ways that women have been suppressed from their voice, suppressed from their power. When the patriarchy came along and removed all the indigenous wisdom and the feminine wisdom that existed in our planet, our connection to earth, when the witches were burned at the stake, that is all existing in the collective unconscious. And this is why women experience, no matter what culture, no matter where they're at in the world, this is why women experience a witch wound, visibility wounds, and the fear of being seen in their spiritual magic, the fear of being seen in their essence. It is because of all the stuff that has come before us that is existing in the collective unconscious, right? So when you're diving into your womb, when you're doing that deep work and you're experiencing this rage, there's so much power there. I'm getting chills. And that's why we've been suppressed from experiencing our rage, because we've been told that anger is a bad thing and that we can't experience rage. And that is the complete opposite of the truth. Rage is important to experience, but in a sacred way, in a sacred container. This is why sacred rage rituals and sacred rage practices with yourself or in a group container, which is what we're going to be doing in the Wildly Liberated Retreat, is so potent, because you're allowing this energy that is existing inside of you to be fully expressed and completed. And underneath your rage is your feminine power. The rage is rage for all the ways that your ancestors and maybe even you in this lifetime in the collective hasn't been able to be fully seen and expressed, or for women to not be fully seen and expressed as who they are, right? And so, what happens when you let yourself alchemize? Because your body is a temple of alchemy. What is alchemy? Alchemy is being able to transform one energy to another, right? Look at the study of like true alchemy. I think it's something around like turning metals into gold or something. I don't know. I just know that alchemy in the body is being able to transform pain into pleasure, pain into power. And so when you start to do that work and you transmute the pain, the rage, which how do we transmute that? Through feeling, through expression. Expression is so important. It's a huge piece of embodiment. When you finally give yourself the ability to do that, you're opening up this energy that's been bounded up, not only just in your psyche, but a collective psyche. And you start to reclaim your power. You start to feel what is true in your being. This is all energetic, and it is so cool to witness that in yourself. Science is still trying to figure out a way to put words to this, and Carl Jung did an amazing job at doing that and like putting words to this. And there's a difference between you hearing me say this right now and actually experiencing the power that lives beneath your rage. There's a huge difference, but I'm going to try my hardest here to put it into words because it's magical. And hopefully the resonance of my voice and the energy of my voice is maybe activating something inside of you, like a remembrance, because this is really cool, amazing. This is just stuff that I feel like every woman needs to know. And we haven't been taught this because, once again, we grew up in a society that has suppressed the true power of what it means to be a human being and what it means to be a woman, right? So the wild woman archetype, an archetype is an energy. She's all about instinctual knowing. It goes hand in hand with embodiment. It's all about knowing your own intuition, hearing your own intuition, trusting your instincts, right? When you think of like a wild woman, you can think of like this primal being, right? She is wild, she is free, she is untamed, she knows who she is and she advocates for who she is. She has strong boundaries. You can feel her power, her primal power moving through her. And she is the part of you that wants to just fucking break the rules. She says, fuck the rules. I'm creating my own way. I'm paving my own way. I'm tapping into the unique essence of who I am. I'm silencing the noise of the external world and I am turning on the volume of my internal world. And I'm going to trust myself and I'm going to listen to myself and I'm going to break free from these limitations and these boxes that have constrained the truth of who I am, because inside of me, what I truly crave more than anything in the world is to be fully expressed and feel safe in that expression. Every woman needs to understand who she is when she's fully expressed. Full expression means that no matter what is rising within you, whatever you want to say, you say it, right? If you're feeling rage, you feel it, you move through it. If you're experiencing happiness and joy, you feel it and you allow yourself to be seen in it. You see yourself in it. Every aspect of you, dark, light, pain, pleasure, is welcomed, is felt, and is fully safe to be expressed. When you practice this is what we're going to be doing at the Wildly Liberated Retreat happening in January. When you have a safe space to practice your raw expression, everything starts to shift in your life, because the way that you show up in your business, in your career, in your relationships is now from this place of having your voice open. You're not afraid to say the things that you want to say. You're not afraid to own your desires. You're not afraid to ask for clarity. You're not afraid to confront truth, because you're expressing. The more you allow yourself to express these energies that are just, they feel like they're holding you back, this anger, this rage, this doubt, this fear, when you can tap into that and get into your raw primal expression, you unlock more of your voice, of your truth, of your essence. And that is magnetic as fuck. That is felt. Okay. So in your relationships, that will be felt. In the way you lead your career, that would be felt. Magnetism is how you attract the abundance that you desire, because you become that abundance first, because you notice and you realize that inside of you, there's an abundant world of energies. And when you can allow yourself to feel that abundance of energies existing in you, and you can shapeshift from one energy to the other, and you can honor all aspects of you, that is the true abundance that you're craving, the abundance of expression. When you embody that, your reality will start to show you abundance. It will start to bring to you your desires. It will start to bring to you what is in true alignment with you, because you're not afraid of being in alignment anymore, right? So the journey to this, though, to this expression, to this wild woman, untamed, liberated energy, is a journey. And it will take patience, it will take time, and it will take a lot of exposure. Exposure means, I believe in exposure therapy in a way. Exposure means having sacred space where you are exposed more to practices and rituals that allow you to be fully seen in your raw, vulnerable expression, like retreats or mentorship or experiences that really own, or that really create a space for your wild expression to feel safe. When you can expose yourself to that, you're teaching your body that it is actually safe. Like, oh my gosh, I already did that. I allowed myself to be seen in my vulnerability. I allowed myself to speak up, something that I've been suppressing for so long. I allowed myself to express and move my body in the weirdest ways and scream into a pillow, and I'm safe. Wow, my expression actually is not something I need to keep suppressing. I am safe in this expression. I am safe in who I am. And I don't need anything externally to dictate who the fuck I am anymore, because I am safe in my expression. I am safe in who I am. And so, like I said, the journey, if it hasn't felt safe up until this point, it's going to take a lot of safety first. This is a pillar that I include in my mentorship, in my group programs, and in my retreats. We have to cultivate safety first. And in retreat experiences, it's really powerful because when you don't have this phone by your side, when you don't have your business things in your to-do list, and all of life pulling you in so many different directions, and your energy being drained from all the shit you have to do, and you are in a safe, sacred space fully with yourself, when you get that cultivates a level of safety that allows your body to know, okay, I'm safe here. I can relax. There's presence here. There's peace here. There's not so much shit going on. There's so much noise. I can tune in. And from that place, all of these energies start to rise, and they need expression, and they need to feel seen, and they need to be accepted with others around you. And there's just so much beauty that happens in a retreat space because you finally feel safe to unleash. And so there's the aspect of safety that comes in. We have to regulate your nervous system. And the thing about Costa Rica is that as soon as you land in Costa Rica, you don't have 5G towers, you don't have all of these invisible energies draining your life force. And it is wild what happens in Costa Rica. That's why I choose Costa Rica over and over again. There's this grounded energy that happens in your nervous system that allows you to just take a fresh breath of air. And it's beautiful too, because when you make that decision and you go to a retreat, you know that you're going there with the intention to transform, with the intention to unleash more of who you are, with the intention of completely dying to an old identity that's no longer serving you. And when you know that and you have a sacred initiatory experience of that, the transformation is amazing. And then the integration post the retreat is so important, which is something that I support my students with when they do attend retreats. It's integrating everything that you just learned back into your real life when there is so many things pulling your direction, when there is, or pulling your energy, when there is so much noise. It's all about integrating new boundaries so that all of that noise is not taking your energy. It's about learning how to speak your truth in the same way that you did at the retreat when it comes to having a conversation with a partner or your business or like a client or whatever the case may be. It's learning how to use these things that you just unleashed within yourself and putting them into practical steps afterwards. And that is how true transformation happens. And it's epic. And I'm so excited for the Wildly Liberated Retreat because it is going to be all around wild woman, raw expression, diving into the deepest parts of our psyche, unleashing, rewilding, tapping back to our instinctual nature, to our truth, and allowing that truth to be fully embodied so that when we return back to our day-to-day, we have a new sense of awareness of who we are, and we can start leading our lives from more truth rather than from the falsehood and conditioning of the world and our upbringing. And that in itself is going to be so transformative. So if you're feeling this wild woman energy inside of you, this part of you that just feels like she's been domesticated, that she's been told her whole life who she needs to be in order to be successful, in order to be validated, in order to look a certain way, then it's time for you to undomesticate and to rewild and to come back to the truth of who you really are from within, and to let this wild woman roar and let this wild woman express and be set free. I'm so excited for this retreat. We're going to be doing 5 days in the jungles of Costa Rica. We're going to have a mysterious, beautiful adventure day in the rainforest. We're a 15-minute walk from the beach. So we're going to have ocean medicine around us. We're going to be doing sacred rage ritual, somatic breath work, cacao ceremonies, all with the intention to unleash the wild woman, to unleash and rewild the part of you that's been suppressed for way too long, and it's going to change your life. So if you're feeling resonance, if you were activated by this, go ahead and click the link below. You're going to find the Wildly Liberated Costa Rica retreat happening January 10th through the 15th, 2026. Below, the details below. Reach out to me on Instagram if you have any questions at I am Joanna Sanchez. You can also find that below. But this retreat, honestly, I'm feeling like the energy of it rising every day more and more. And as a facilitator, it's really cool to be in the creative process of a retreat from this place of surrender, from this place of trusting, from this place of just listening to how Source wants to move the energy of this retreat. And I'm feeling like this is going to be the most powerful retreat I've led yet. And it's calling in some really amazing wild women that are ready, and I'm just stoked because this is potent medicine that we are needing, especially nowadays when we are becoming more and more distant from humans and more distant from community. We need tribe, we need sisterhood, we need connection, in-person connection, and a lot of my work is online. And I try my hardest to create as much connection, and it works, but there's nothing like the energy of going to a retreat and experiencing that human touch, human connection, and the human support when you're diving into these deeper parts of your psyche and coming back online into who you truly are. So click the link below. Any questions that you have, I'm here to communicate with you, to talk to you, to vibe with you. And I hope that wherever you are at in your day, you have a beautiful rest of your day or night. And if you haven't already, please like, subscribe, leave a review, comment. I would love to know what came through for you, what you're feeling when it comes to your connection to the wild woman, and for us to have a conversation around that. So have a beautiful rest of your day or night. Mwah!